Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to, cut through the noise and give you the clearest, most useful insights. Today, we're plunging headfirst into something that gets a lot of buzz: manifestation. Specifically, we're going to unpack this really interesting 30-day challenge that comes from a YouTube video. It makes a pretty bold claim about manifesting quickly.
It really does. And our goal here for this deep dive is to pull out the core ideas, the key techniques, and maybe some surprising bits from this specific approach. We want you to understand not just what these techniques are, but crucially, why this creator thinks they work. It's pitched as a very practical guide, basically how to manifest anything in 30 days.
And the source itself is, well, quite something. The YouTube video is called The Real Way to Manifest Everything You Want, and the creator, Simone, she introduces herself as, get this, a trillionaire president of the world manifestation expert, and also, playfully, the queen of the world. Which, immediately sets this very grand, almost mythical tone, doesn't it?
It does. It signals a belief system that's operating on a massive scale. And that's sort of the lens we need to view her methods through. She often runs this 30-day challenge through communities on Discord and TikTok, too.
Okay, so where does Simone say we should actually start this 30-day thing? What's step one?
Right, the absolute foundation, the very first thing is crystal clear intention.
Crystal clear. Okay.
And here's a detail that really stands out. She insists you must pick only one thing you want. Just one.
Only one? Why just one?
Well, what's fascinating is how she immediately links any fuzziness or a lack of focus to having a confused mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about having a goal. She draws this direct line between mental clarity and whether you'll actually manifest anything. The idea is any ambiguity just messes things up from the start, sabotages it almost.
No.
It's
like trying to tune into multiple radio stations at once, you just get static. So focusing on one big goal, though, that can feel kind of huge.
Yeah.
How does this umbrella concept she talks about help with that?
Yeah, that's the practical bit. Instead of getting bogged down listing every single specific thing you want, the car, the house, the fancy handbag, you focus on the one core desire that makes all those other things possible. So your umbrella might be simply being rich, or maybe manifesting X amount of money. That single clear intention then covers everything else underneath it. It makes all those smaller desires feel more cohesive, more manageable.
Okay, I get it. That makes sense. It keeps the focus tight. So once you've got that crystal clear intention, what's the next technique she brings in?
The next big one is the mind movie.
The mind movie, right. I've heard this connected to people like Joe Dispenza. Why is this particular method highlighted for saturating your mind, as she puts it?
Exactly. The mind movie is all about immersing your subconscious, really getting past your conscious doubts. And she specifically says do it morning and night. Why? Because those are the times when your mind is naturally more receptive, kind of in that theta state. It's more susceptible to soaking up new information or beliefs then.
So it's not just looking at pictures, it's about hitting the subconscious when it's most open. And how does mixing visuals, affirmations, and music make it stronger than just, say, thinking about what you want?
Well, that's the key insight, really. Our brains are wired to look for patterns, right? So if you consistently feed your brain a specific vision using images, sounds, affirmations, you're basically reprogramming your internal story. You're shifting from doubt to expectation. With the mind movie, you're grabbing images of your dream life, layering affirmations like I attract wealth, maybe even background subliminal ones, she says, up to 100.
100 subliminals, wow.
Yeah. And then you add instrumental music chosen to make you feel powerful. She mentioned specific tracks like Sad Girls Love Money or Beyoncé's Alien Superstar. The whole point is this multisensory, consistent saturation of your subconscious. It's not about making it perfect, but just doing it, persistently creating this immersive feeling.
Right, hitting it from all sides. Makes sense.
Huh?
Okay, moving on then. The third technique sounds like it's about sheer repetition. Affirm, affirm, affirm. She stresses just flooding your mind with statements like, I am rich, I have good grades, whatever it is. The core idea seems to be making yourself believe it's real, so it's easier to live in the end and act like you already have it.
Yeah, and this ties into that idea of vibrating on the same frequency.
Okay. Explain that a bit more.
Well, in this context, it means aligning your internal state, your emotions, your core beliefs with the energy signature of what you want. It's basically like a track, like on a vibrational level. The source points out Like, if you want money but you're constantly stressed about bills and feeling broke, you're sending out a mixed message, a conflicting frequency.
Okay, hold on though. That vibrating frequency idea makes a certain kind of sense, but
Well,
well, doesn't just telling yourself you're rich when, your bank account clearly says you're not, doesn't that feel a bit fake? Like you're just lying to yourself, especially at the beginning?
that's a really crucial point. And yeah, the source kind of implies that initial feeling of fakeness is, well, part of the deal. The thinking is that through consistent, repeated affirmation, even if it feels weird or inauthentic at first, you gradually start to rewire your internal beliefs. You're overriding the old stuff. It's like carving new pathways in your brain. Eventually, the constant input makes the new belief feel more natural, and that helps you move towards actually living in the end.
And living in the end, that's another one of those concepts that sounds good, but how do you actually do it day to day? It sounds a bit abstract.
It can be. But the source gives a really practical way to test yourself on this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, think of a very specific, realistic situation that would definitely happen if you already had what you want. So the example used is, say you want to be a superstar. Imagine your agent calls right now and says, pack your bags, you're walking the con red carpet tomorrow.
Okay. Well, come tomorrow.
Now, what are your instant gut reaction thoughts? The source gives an anecdote, like maybe your first thoughts are, oh my God, I haven't worked out, or my skin's terrible, I have nothing to wear, I'll sound stupid in interviews.
Huh. Yeah, I can imagine that panic.
Exactly. Those reactions, the source argues, show you exactly where you're not aligned with the person who is a superstar walking that carpet. So the application is, break it down. The person who is ready for con, they probably work out, they look after their health, they read, they work on themselves. The challenge then becomes, start being that person.
Mm.
And keep asking yourself, am I aligned right now with the person I want to become?
Wow. Okay, that's actually really practical. It turns it from just wishing into actual self-reflection and like personal development homework.
Exactly. It's a concrete way to spot your own internal resistance and start working on it. It's about embodying it, not just wanting it. A really profound shift, actually.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of these internal shifts, there's another daily practice mentioned that focuses on that internal absorption state, getting into a state akin to sleep.
Yes, the SATS method, often linked to Neville Goddard.
Right. So this isn't deep sleep, but that like drowsy, floaty state just before you drift off when your mind is supposedly super receptive.
Precisely. And if we connect this back, you see the consistent theme again, right? The
Yeah.
mind movies, the affirmations, living in the end, and now this state akin to sleep. It's all about deliberate subconscious saturation.
Saturation. Okay.
All these methods are designed to imprint that desired reality deep down, making it your dominant internal program. The state akin to sleep is seen as especially potent because your conscious mind, your critical filter, is lowered. The ideas can just sink right in.
And the source is specific here.
Yeah.
You visualize the end result. So the lottery example, again, the scene isn't buying the ticket. It's a tiny like 5-second loop of maybe looking at the screen, seeing the numbers match, realizing you won, and just screaming, I won.
Exactly. The absolute fulfillment of the wish.
And you just loop that feeling, that scene for about 10 minutes while you're almost asleep.
So, okay, given all these core techniques, what does this mean for some of the popular manifestation trends you see all over, like TikTok, things like the 369 method or the pillow method?
That's a really important clarification the source makes. It explicitly says those techniques like writing your desire 3, 6, then 9 times or sleeping with it under your pillow, they aren't inherently magical.
Not magic. So what's the point then?
The source believes their entire premise, the only reason they might work, is simply to get you focused, to get you into the desired feeling state, and to saturate your mind with the idea. It reinforces that manifestation in this specific view isn't about rigid rituals performed at set times. It's seen as an ongoing state of being. The focus is continuous internal alignment, the belief that you're always creating your reality. Right. The creator literally says we create our reality constantly nonstop. It's not like you do your technique for 15 minutes and then forget about it. It's constant. And to really drive this home, the source shares this pretty cool anecdote about Joe Dispenza's daughter. She's described as a master manifester.
What does she manifest?
Apparently, her dream trip, a fully paid vacation to Italy, plus an unlimited shopping spree there.
Wow. Okay, how?
The story goes she would meditate purely on the feeling of the wish fulfilled. How would it feel to be on that unlimited spree in Italy? And then when she finished meditating, she just carried that feeling living in the end without worrying about how it could possibly happen. The source really emphasizes you don't need to know the how, but it will happen. And meditating on the feeling is powerful, isn't it? It bypasses the logical mind that immediately asks, but how? You're not just thinking about Italy, you're aiming to vividly experience the joy, the freedom, the luxury now internally. You're imprinting that emotional blueprint. It's like telling your internal operating system, this is my new reality. And then the subconscious supposedly starts looking for ways to make the outside match the inside. Deep internal alignment.
Yeah, moving from just thinking about it to actually feeling it. Okay, so let's shift to navigating reality while you're doing all this. The 30-day challenge is happening, but life is still life, right? The source brings up something that often causes debate. Divine timing.
Yes.
The timing question.
Yeah, while some people in manifestation circles believe you're basically God in total control, this source takes a slightly different view. They say there are some esoteric forces at play, but we also have a say, and crucially, there is no deadline for manifestation. So that introduces an element of what? Surrender. Trust. It implies some things unfold only when you're truly ready for them. The idea of divine timing suggests the universe or whatever forces might hold back a manifestation not to deny it, but maybe to make sure it actually helps you, or that you've grown enough to handle it properly.
That lottery example comes back here, and it really lands. Imagine manifesting that huge win when you're, as the source puts it, really bad with your finances.
Right. Disaster waiting to happen.
Exactly. You'd probably blob it, spend it all, end up worse off like you hear about with some real lottery winners. So divine timing in this perspective might delay the win until you actually know what to do with the money, making it a blessing instead of a curse. It's almost like the universe saying, okay, I hear you, but let's get you ready first. It's kind of humbling, isn't it?
It is. It suggests it's not just about our wanting, but also about our readiness.
Yeah, and that links directly to the next point. Persistence. The source really hammers this. The 3D reality is always conforming, so never give up.
Meaning, the physical world you see is constantly shifting to match your consistent inner state.
Right. And as you keep that inner alignment going, you'll start seeing signs, synchronicities, these little ways that start showing up.
Like breadcrumbs on the trail.
Yeah. The creator mentions seeing specific angel numbers, like 444, 777, 111, these repeating numbers that many people see as signs. She saw them a lot during a tough year, right after she started trying to manifest seriously. She took them as confirmation she was on the right track, even if the big stuff hadn't shown up yet.
And those signs are framed essentially as affirmations from the universe, right?
Yeah.
They build your trust, reinforce your belief, keep you going, even when you don't see the final result immediately. It's like a feedback loop to maintain that internal state.
Exactly. And for anyone feeling overwhelmed by all this, especially beginners, the advice is super practical. Start small.
Makes sense. Don't try to climb Everest on day one.
Right. If trying to manifest, say, $1 million just feels impossible and brings up tons of resistance, start with something more believable to you, like maybe a pay rise or even just a cup of coffee.
Why start small, though? What's the mechanism there?
It's about building belief. The source says if you don't truly believe the big thing can happen, you create this huge block.
Yeah.
By starting small, manifesting something minor, and seeing it happen, you get proof. You build momentum. You start to genuinely believe, hey, this works. It helps embed the idea that manifestation, according to this view, is actually natural, not some impossibly hard struggle. It's just about that constant internal creative process, alignment, belief.
So it all comes back to that internal state, that consistent alignment and belief being the real keys.
Yeah. And the source wraps up with some pretty assertive statements about wealth, referencing The Secret, asking things like, why are you broke? No excuse, I manifest everything.
Okay.
And even, why are you poor? Manifest and leave me alone until you have money. Pretty direct.
That is very direct. And, while that tone might be jarring to some, it does reflect a common belief. You find in certain manifestation communities this very strong conviction about the direct, almost causal link between your mindset and your material wealth. We're just presenting it impartially here as it's part of the source's overall philosophy.
Right. It underscores that philosophy of radical internal power and responsibility for your circumstances.
Exactly.
So, okay, as we kind of pull back from this deep dive, what really stands out is that this 30-day challenge, as presented, isn't just about making wishes. It's framed as a deliberate, almost methodical reprogramming of yourself. It shifts manifestation from maybe a mystical hope to internal discipline, cultivating belief, taking aligned actions, and sort of nudging your reality to catch up. The real power seems to be less in the doing and more in who you become.
Absolutely. This deep dive has laid out a pretty potent toolkit and a very specific mindset for trying to shape reality. The emphasis is clearly on consistency, that deep internal work being far more crucial than any single magic technique. So maybe the question to leave you with is this. What parts of this particular approach resonate with your own gut feeling about how intentions turn into results? And if you were curious, where might you even begin to test some of these ideas in your own life just to see what happens?